Hi, so we're going to start with two somewhat radical notions. The first is that the voices of young people matter. And the second is that when we talk about the future, it's important to have young people in the conversation. So a few months ago, I had the great pleasure to bring a couple poets to the White House to perform for the First Family at the first ever poetry jam, which was a really fascinating thing. But before then, in 1990, I was a student in my fourth year at the University of Wisconsin, not my final year, but my fourth year. And I was out there with 30,000 people protesting the impending first Gulf War. Madison is a famous, radical place, and so we were out there protesting, 30,000 of us chanting, "No blood for oil, no blood for oil, no blood for oil." And then all of a sudden, and it was great. I was like, yes, that's right. And then we started talking about, hell no, we won't go. And I had a really, truly cathartic moment in that space, because we were 30,000 middle-class college students in the middle of America at the start of a war that we knew was only going to take a couple of months, and we knew we weren't going anywhere. But we didn't have language of our own. 5 years later, I started an organization called Youth Speaks, specifically dedicated to giving young people the opportunity to, as we heard in the video, craft their own identity in an empowered way. This is our artistic director, Marc Bamuthi Joseph. I'm going to turn it over to him for a minute.
Cool. I want to share an epiphany that actually prepared me to work with James that involves international diplomacy and democratic principles and literacy. But in order for this epiphany to work, I need you all to say word. Word. Excellent, because you sang the Eagles song, so I know you can say word. Right? Everybody say word, word.
Word, word.
Please, loud, word, word.
Word, word.
All right, great. The first African-American woman that I ever met was a white chick from Lubbock, Texas. Molly Melching, big woman. She moved to Senegal 20 years ago to work for UNESCO. She never left. She married a Senegalese man. She had a daughter. Was happy until he left. Molly speaks Wolof, Tree. She's a beast negotiator at the marketplace, highly respected within her community. The Senegalese that I meet refer to Molly as an African American. They refer to me as a Black American. When I get off the plane in Senegal, I don't have much plans. I do have Molly's number in my back pocket, given to me by friends of friends. I have ideas in my head, also given to me by friends of friends. They say, Bamuthi, in Africa, they will love you. Just find the dancers, find the hip-hop. Somebody will adopt you, take you in. Don't worry, don't trip. Okay, 3 days into my trip, I've been hustled out of my drawers, and I'm spending money at a pace that's going to leave me homeless in 8 days. I got one of those non-transferable tickets since I got to be here for 4 months. In tears, I call Molly. She invites me to her home in Chess. She says, I can stay. Not quite the African I thought was going to take me in. Molly works for an NGO called Tostan. She's a champion of women's health. She works to fight against female circumcision in rural villages. She calls it mutilation. I become her roadie. I sit in the backseat gazing at endless stretches of endless flat land and wide open sky as we ride from one end of the country to the other. We ride to the middle of nowhere. Nowhere. We come to a stop in front of a single stone building with a thatched roof. 3 girls come out, all smiles and grace. They greet. I think, cool, Molly's going to meet with them, and then we're going to be out. Then this boy comes out, and he starts playing a drum, which I think is kind of annoying to have going on during a meeting. But who the hell am I? The American, so I just smile and listen for my name. Take it all in, all of the nowhere, Africa. Okay, apparently this kid playing the drum is this village's version of a mass email. Because I don't know where these people come from, but like 100,000 people descend on the courtyard. It's like the Rose Bowl on New Year's Day, and they all come to see the circus in town, which is namely the big white African and her short, clueless American friend. Molly is spilling her propaganda about this backwards indigenous ritual, but nobody can hear anything because of all the people and all the commotion, everybody trying to see the one white woman within 1,000 miles. Finally, Molly comes out. She says, Bamuthi, I need you to distract them. Molly, I'm a poet, and they don't speak English. I ain't got no microphone, no megaphone, no radio, no telephone, whatever. How am I going to keep them distracted? Okay, 3 minutes later, the entire village. I'm surrounded. My heart's pounding. Africa. Okay. I don't need to astound them. Only distract. No microphone, no radio, no English. That's cool, that's cool. That's my whole act. To survive, I become hip-hop empath. I channel the low beginnings. Fires burning all over the Bronx, post-civil rights, glass ceilings, no lights, no loot. Just do what you feel to the groove. A dance floor uprising of the youth. I just pray that they buy it. Okay, the future aesthetic, the future's not static, it's moving kinetically manic, they mimic a cynic. Okay, they're buying it. Okay. While I'm cracking them up with my shamrocks, Molly's speaking in a language that I never heard of. She encourages the Council of Elders to abandon a centuries-old practice, encourages them to modernize their attitude towards women. I think I know another Texan who went into the brown people's country, tried to get them to change their ways. Maybe he should have extended a sign of peace first. Molly extended me. That's how I became an MC, without saying a word.
So Marc and I, we threw the first teen poetry slam. All right, so we did the first teen poetry slam in the country back in 1996, and it just so happened that somebody from George Soros's organization was there in the audience, and they decided to bring us and two young poets out to the former Yugoslavia, to Bosnia, in 1999, where every building around us was bombed out. It was in the midst of, the war had just ended, and we were asked to be a part of this thing called the International Youth Against War Festival, which actually turned out we were the only 4 representatives from the Western Hemisphere, and I was 25 and the oldest one of us. So it was very nerve-wracking and scary, and the only other non-Bosnians in the town were all the peacekeepers from around the world, who were there with their, their chests out and their rifles out and blah, blah, blah. So when we got there the first day, there were 10 kids. There were 4 Bosnian kids, 4 Croatian kids, 2 Serbian kids, and maybe a Kosovar gypsy or 2. My math is off, but you get the deal. They hated each other. Every boy had been fighting, every girl had been sexually abused, every single one in the room. And they wouldn't talk to us at first because they said every single person from the West who had been there had been from the media, and they'd been there to steal their stories. We were there for 10 days. And by the time we left, we took 2 entire school bus full of kids, 150 kids, to Sarajevo. To perform at the festival with kids from all throughout the rest of the former Yugoslavia, because all we asked them to do was to tell their own stories on their own term. The number 1 fear in this country is public speaking, more than death, which means, as the old joke goes, you'd rather be in the casket than giving the eulogy. The root of democracy is the empowerment of voice, and that's what we're here today to do. So speak up. Don't be afraid.
He speaks. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.